You're listening to Deep South Dining on MPB Think Radio. To call the show, dial 1-877-MPB-RING. That's 877-672-7464. Or email food@mpbonline.org. This is MPB Think Radio.
Well, good morning. It's Deep South Dining on MPB Think Radio. It's Malcolm White with Carol Palmer. Hello, Carol. How in the world are you this morning?
Good morning, my friend. I am doing just fine.
There you are.
There I am. Got to turn the volume up.
Adjust your volume control.
So how are you, my friend?
I'm good. A lot going on in this world of ours. Over the weekend, I went to the soft opening of the reopening of the Mayflower Cafe, downtown Jackson since 1935. And it was packed, of course, and a bit chaotic, as all openings are.
Especially soft openings.
Correct.
And that's why
Explain to our listeners what a soft opening is.
A soft opening is, of some nights, sometimes it can be a week, for everybody to get their act together, to train the wait staff, the kitchen, to get the timing right, the cash register right. And by saying it's a soft...
The cash register. You remember when we had cash registers?
Don't make me feel
now they have
checkout.
Now they have these little handheld
machines.
computers.
Just to get all systems going.
All systems go.
By using the word soft, it makes the expectations of the diners, they know that they're part of an experiment.
Right. Well, it was that and more. I think they opened a couple of days last week for lunch without really promoting it, and then there were 2 nights, Friday and Saturday, of the soft opening. We attended on Saturday, and it was so great to see the place. It's beautiful. It's been completely remodeled, and there's a lot more light. The ceiling height has been raised, and all the old paraphernalia is back on the wall. So that's a really cool thing to see. And anyway, the main thing for me was the broiled seafood. Do they have the oysters, shrimp, and fish broiling techniques and the sauce right? And that was all really good. I had a piece of red snapper and topped with broiled shrimp and broiled oysters.
Sounds like the Mayflower.
Sounds good. Also had a dozen raw oysters before and a really great salad. Their salad has been, I hate to use this term, kicked up a notch, but I think everybody knows what that means. There's a variety of greens now, whereas it used to just be an iceberg salad. So that was really, really good. The comeback is interesting. I'm sure there will be so many discussions about, is the comeback exactly the way it was, or is it slightly different? All restaurants who go through ownership changes see recipes tweaked. So I'll be interested to see what people think about the comeback. But it was really good. But it seemed a little different to me.
So was Chef Hunter Evans on hand, or was he busy in the kitchen?
Oh no, he was. He and Cody both were all over the dining room, in the kitchen. You can now see into the kitchen, so it's really kind of fun. Well, there's a little glass area where you can view the kitchen going into the new restrooms. The restrooms are now on the first floor. But anyway, no longer have to go around back with an escort. But they are officially open to the public today for lunch. So if you've been curious about the Mayflower and its return, it is officially returned, and they would love to see you downtown on Roach and Capitol Street.
Well, I see there was some cooking going on at your house this weekend because you brought me a present.
Yeah, Kara made a blueberry cake, which she has made many times. I believe that's the cold oven cake. I think that's the way you describe it. But it's a very good cake. Marissa has a slice. How's it going in there, Marissa?
I'm so excited. I love when you bring me presents, Malcolm.
Oh, good. Well, I hope y'all both enjoy the blueberry cake this morning. So yeah, it was. And you posted something about okra.
Yeah,
right?
And you bring me cake and I bring you okra.
Oh, you're bringing me the okra.
I'm bringing
okay.
you the okra, but John and I had a visit from one of our favorite people, Sherry Lucas, who is a wonderful writer and wrote for the Clarion Ledger for many years.
Yes.
And now lives in Summit, Mississippi, where she and her husband, Randall, have, they have like 20 fruit trees. They have gardens. I mean, she has turned into quite the farmer.
Yeah.
But she
yeah.
brought me 3
Indeed.
varieties of okra, and I posted them on Facebook. And this is called Star of David okra. I've
Wow.
never seen it before.
It's huge.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
it's really, really lovely and has many, many points. So I thought you would find something fun to do with that.
No doubt.
She also bought me a
All right.
basket. She brought me a basket of pears, and so I'm going to go home after
I had
the
those
show.
pears last year or the year before. They were really good.
You mean that when I made pear preserves?
Exactly what I
That's
mean.
what I'm going to be doing today and tomorrow. I'm going to be making pear preserves, and I will bring you some.
Well, it's
next
good to
week.
know that Sherry and Randall's garden is growing well down in Summit, and we always appreciate gifs, right?
We do.
In fact,
we love a present.
I got a gift in the mail. Last week we talked about coffee and chicory.
Yes.
Because Chef Hunter Evans, had written us an email asking about the history of coffee and chicory. And so we talked about it, and I talked about my favorite coffee is Cafe du Monde. And so I got a Facebook message from a fella named Judd Patterson, who I do not know. And he had written to me and said that his sister Jane had heard the program and had told him he should check in with us because he has a shop. He is a Jacksonian, born and raised, went to Ole Miss, but now lives in Smithville, North Carolina.
Smithfield, I believe. Is it Smithfield or Smithville?
I thought it was Ville.
Okay, you're probably right.
North Carolina. And so anyway, he said to me, look, he said, a friend of mine here in North Carolina roasts beans, and I get chicory from New Orleans, and I blend the fresh roasted beans and the chicory, and I'd like for you to try my coffee. And there's this great story about his coffee. He calls it Daddy Jack's after his father, who was in the military and flew jets. His daddy, Jack Patterson. But anyway, so he sent me a bag of coffee, and we had it this morning for the first time, and it is absolutely delicious. And I cannot wait to share it. In fact, I told him that Marissa would get in touch with him and that we would invite him to come on the show in our next coffee shop edition, and we would serve his coffee, Daddy Jack's Coffee and Chicory, right here on Deep South Dining.
So cool. And I want to go back to who his people are.
Okay.
I believe it's a brother, not a sister. And one of our great posters on Cooking and Coping, I suppose you pronounce it Jan, J-A-N-N-E.
What did I say,
Patterson
Jan?
Swearingen.
Okay. Yeah, Jan. Okay.
So
Swearingen, that's correct.
Yeah.
That's
a great poster.
That's not his sister?
Well, there's a picture.
Anyway.
Look.
Okay. Well, there you have it.
Whoever you are,
some family member.
family member, you are a top contributor. You are listed as top contributor on Cooking and Coping, and I love your stuff. So,
yeah, and we'll get this all cleared up. But the bottom line is, Judd Patterson sent me some of his coffee, Daddy Jack's, and it is outstanding. And he was right. It is so much fresher than the canned coffee that we order because it was roasted like last week, and he grinds this chicory and mixes it himself, put it in a bag, mailed it to me, and wow. What a morning it was on the front porch at 755 Gillespie.
Well, I did a little cooking this week, too, and I just wanted to, pass on something I learned. John asked for chicken scallopini. Mm-hmm. Said, yes, no problem. And I made it and, was kind of reading a little bit about it. And I learned something that scallopini and piccata share. Scallopini is actually the way the meat is sliced.
The direction?
Well, it's the thinness. It's like a paillard. So, scallopini is a thinly sliced meat. And if you do the scallopini in a butter, caper, lemon, wine sauce, then it's piccata.
Okay.
And so John had chicken piccata. But I thought that was kind of interesting. I always thought chicken piccata and chicken scallopini were two different things.
Well, that was a good discovery.
Now
you've shared discovery. It with all of our people. So
yeah.
So that's cool. And I'll say this, Carol, I'm shocked, but last week, Starbucks rolled out pumpkin spice lattes again.
Good Lord, Malcolm.
In August.
It's wrong.
Well, it is. Yes, they've introduced their whole fall menu at Starbucks, which includes...
There's a lot of pumpkin spice woven into the whole situation.
So we often talk about pumpkin spice.
But they're not the only ones.
Oh, no.
I was ordering something. I was ordering some placemats online. I believe it was from Williams Sonoma or one of those places.
And it had
pumpkin
spice and
no.
placemats?
So when I was pushing the button, it flashed up. It asked me if I wanted to order pumpkin spice bread mix.
Oh boy!
So it's everywhere.
Yeah, it is. But anyway, I guess this is the official beginning of fall when pumpkin spice emerges from the under the covers and presents itself, and so here it is.
And there'll be no more pumpkin spice spam in
please,
my house. I bought some as a joke, but it's not a joke. But it won't be long now till Joe Sherman shows up with some pumpkin spice lattes for us from Dunkin'.
That's right, and Krispy Kreme has already rolled theirs out. Oh, Dunkin' Donuts has rolled theirs out. I mean, it's upon us. There's nothing really that we can do about it. So, another thing of interest this week, Carol, once again, are the hot dogs are back in the news. I believe it was Southern Living. Nope, yeah. Was it Southern Living that did the hot dog tasting? Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so Southern Living editors, they tried 9 hot dogs and ranked them 1 through 9. The Applegate Natural Uncured Beef Hot Dog came in first. Are you familiar with the Applegate?
I am.
Okay.
But that was surprising to me. What about you?
Well, yes, because Hebrew National and Nathan's were both on the list, a couple of my favorites.
Well, and that's what, I always learned that. I learned that from you many years ago, Hebrew National and Nathan's.
But they were not the winners. Applegate Natural Uncured Beef Hot Dog was the winner. Honorable mention was Members Mark Beef Franks. Never heard of it.
I think that's from Sam's or someplace like that. That's a store
Sam's
brand.
Club. That is correct.
Yep.
So they finished second place. So none of my favorites, according to Southern Living, are the top 9. So
yeah.
I have to live with that.
I want to tell you that the Swearingen mystery has been cleared up.
Already?
Yes, it's been cleared up by our good friend Pippa Perry.
Through the miracle.
Pippa Perry Jackson.
Because of the sweet potato. There's a sweet potato queen connection here, according to Judd.
Oh.
Judd said he used to sell merchandise for the sweet potato queens.
Okay, and so Jan is a woman.
Sister.
And the picture,
I was right about the sister.
You were so right. The picture on
Just want to make sure everybody understands I was right.
The picture on her Facebook page is actually her husband, who is no longer with her, the handsome guy on her Facebook page.
Gotcha.
So we've got it now.
Yeah, we have that under control.
Thank you, Pippa.
So we'll be talking more to Judd about his Daddy Jack's coffee and chicory, because I'm going to tell you, it's really good. Really, really good.
Hey, I want to take you back.
Please take me back.
we have this list on our script of all the food days.
Oh, yes.
We have so many things coming up this week. World Coconut Day, Cheese Pizza Day, National Salami Day, but the one that really caught my attention was National Chop Suey Day. When is the last time you have heard about chop suey?
It's August the 29th. That's my grandson Wilder's birthday, is National Chop Suey Day. I haven't had chop suey in some time. Yourself?
Well, it originated supposedly in China, but it was the U.S. idea of what Chinese food was in the 50s and 60s. But I haven't seen chop suey on the menu in about 50 years.
Yeah, and you left out National Chicken Day, which is September 1.
Now, that's a big day.
Huge, particularly in this part of the world.
Yeah, we should celebrate.
Okay, here's what's going to happen now. We're going to take a break.
We are?
And when we come back, we've got some special guests who are going to zoom in to Deep South Dining right here into the studio. And we're going to have a conversation. These folks are in Columbus, Mississippi, Carol. We have the executive chef.
Columbus, Mississippi.
We have the executive chef of Jackson Square Grill in Columbus, along with the general manager, Jesse Thomas, and executive chef Tiffany Williams. They're going to join us right after the break, and we're going to have a conversation about what's going on in Columbus, Mississippi.
Yeah, and a brunch they're having.
Special
it's a
brunch.
Southern History Brunch.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Deep South Dining on MPB Think Radio.
MPB Think Radio airs local programs every weekday morning at 9. It's your chance to learn about Southern cooking, home improvement projects, and more. MPB Think Radio, Mississippi is our mission.
Here's a novel idea. Join MPB at the Mississippi Book Festival Saturday, September 14th on the grounds of the state capitol. Mississippi Public Broadcasting will have a media booth on the community lawn. Come cool off in the Capitol Rotunda with MPB's Ed Said at the MPB Cool Kids area with fun activities, giveaways, and lots of educational resources. For more information, go to mpbonline.org or msbookfestival.com.
You're listening to Deep South Dining on MPB Think Radio. To call the show, dial 1-877-MPB-RING. That's 877-672-7464. Or email food@mpbonline.org. This is MPB Think Radio.
Welcome back to Deep South Dining right here on MPB Think Radio. Carol Palmer, Malcolm White, and Melissa Vaughn in the control room. We got a call here. I have no idea what they're calling about, but I do know that they're calling from New Orleans, Louisiana. And do we have that queued up, Marissa?
It doesn't look like they're quite ready
Okay,
yet.
well, that's fine. All right, let's welcome our guest, Carol. Today on our show from Columbus, Mississippi, the Jackson Square Grill, we have executive chef Tiffany Williams and general manager Jesse Thomas, and we are so happy to have y'all join us this morning. Good morning. Are you there? Well, maybe not yet. It's been two.
They're
strike
there.
two.
They may not have their
their ears on.
They don't have their audio on.
Oh, no audio. So whenever Tiffany and Jesse get the audio working, we will welcome them onto the show. They've got some things going on in Columbus, Mississippi they want to tell us about. Should we take this phone call from Bogalusa, Louisiana? Michael is on the phone. Hello, Michael. Hello, Michael. Are you there?
I'm here.
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm doing very well. I just wanted to point out that on, I think it's July 3rd, no, June 3rd, there's a whole thing on spam. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
We're here.
We're dialed in, man. Let it rip.
Okay, so on the June 3rd, edition of the New Yorker magazine on page 62, on and off the menu, there is a whole article on Spam.
Oh.
And it's all about why so many Hawaiians are moving to Las Vegas. And one of the big dishes is about Spam.
Well, Hawaiians are big on Spam. And so they're bringing it with them. Is that what you're saying? To Las Vegas, to the culinary scene?
Actually, it's a little more in depth. Not that I don't want to spoil your fun with it, but it has to do with like you say, Spam came in with the Second World War,
right?
But how they have a whole restaurant that's open from I think 11 at night till 6 in the morning, and the big feature on it is Spam.
Wow. Well, okay, that we'll have to dig into that, Carol.
Because we like to talk about and think about all things Spam. And,
yeah, we're big Spam aficionados.
Yes, and there's even a Spam museum somewhere.
Museum, yes. So we'll dig up this. Was it New York Times Magazine from June 3rd?
New Yorker Magazine.
Oh, New Yorker.
Yeah,
my bad.
We're going to get all over that.
Okay, we've got a lot of catching up to do. But Michael, thank you so much for listening and for calling in from Bogalusa, Louisiana. And now we're going to Columbus, Mississippi, and we want to welcome General Manager Jesse Thomas and Executive Chef Tiffany Williams from Jackson Square Grill in Columbus, Mississippi. Hello and welcome.
Hey, thank y'all for having us.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Doing pretty good.
Excellent. Carol, I don't know if you know this, but our very own Marissa Vaughn spent some time working back of house in Columbus at the Jackson Square Grill for Chef Tiffany Williams. Did you know that?
I did know that, and after the call, I think we should get on a top secret phone call with Tiffany and learn some stuff.
Yeah, how were her knife skills? Let's start with that.
Well, much better because of Chef Tiffany, but still not that great.
Okay. Well, we're so good. They're not that bad. Okay. Well, tell us what's going on at Jackson Square Grill. I know you're a part of this larger Mississippi-owned restaurant group that includes Harvey's and a couple of other places. So fill us in on the organization.
Bulldog Burgers.
The Bulldog, the organization that y'all represent.
That's right. It's the Eat With Us group. Like you said, we encompass Harvey's, Bulldog Burger, obviously the Grill, Sweet Pepper's Deli. And we actually just recently started franchising out a chicken restaurant, Super Chicks. And you
hey, we got one on Lakeland Drive right here in Jackson.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Y'all got one in Jackson. There should be out in Flowood. We've got one in Pensacola. And then we opened one recently in Tupelo also. But just a little mom and pop place, been open a little more than 40 years. That's mom and pop, and we'll put that in quotations. But really good food, great concepts, really chef-driven menus, and a lot of great food.
Oh, well, I like to take my grandkids to Super Chicks because it's right there close to the pool where my granddaughter swims. So we often hit the Super Chicks. You have the custard and the really great fried and grilled chicken. Anyway, it's a great place. I didn't know that y'all were affiliated with that as well. So tell us about your upcoming event, the Southern History Brunch that you've got going on September 7th.
Okay, well, this is one of many events that we put on throughout the year. We typically do wine dinners, and over the past couple of years of doing the wine dinners, we'll go in after we present each dish, and we'll kind of, give a backstory about some of the components on the plate. And here lately, the guests have been really getting intrigued with the history of the food. So in this last wine dinner that we just did here this past, July Italy, we asked the room, what would you guys like to see next? And that was what they chose was let's do something around brunch, and can we go deeper into the history? So myself and the team have gotten together, created this event based off what our clientele is asking for. And they're very interested in learning more about where their food has come from. How do we adapt to some of the flavors that we now enjoy every single day? And brunch is the theme that they chose to go with for this event.
Wow.
So give us an example of one of the items that you're cooking and the history of it.
Okay. So we're still in the lab doing our history part as well as our flavors. But for just example, where we're going to take it, we're going to start with, let's talk about flour. Flour is as old as anyone's mind can go as far back. We know it comes from the grain of wheat, and it is encrusted in between what they used to do in the olden days with the stones to break it down and then process it and all of that thing. So what we're trying to do now is get people to understand. What we're trying to get the understanding of is, well, who thought to add an egg to it? Who said, let's put milk in it? Where did that come from? Like, we wake up Saturday mornings, growing up and grandma's cooking biscuits from scratch, making cinnamon rolls. But how did these things become about? We know it's going to be a multitude of different cultures that came together with small ingredients from here and there. But how did it end up here to be one of our biggest staples? So we're definitely going to have cinnamon rolls with some type of twist on the menu. We're thinking about stuffing them and making a nice different glaze to kind of play on the palate. We're going to even go so as far as quiche. Like, quiche is the oldest, thing that we can think of to go back in the representation of eggs. We didn't just want to be very original and just give you eggs, but we wanted to bring in a dish that is embodied around eggs. So quiche Lorraine will be on the menu, and it is one of the oldest quiche that you can partake of. And we're going to go on the history of how it became about and gained its name.
Very cool. So you'll go through each item that's on the menu and give a little history, a story, a backstory, and let people ask questions about it and that sort of thing.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Wow. What about grits? You have to have grits on the menu somewhere.
Oh, for sure. It's going to accompany something along the way. We're doing our pairings right now. Definitely grits. We're going to talk about the history of casseroles. Casserole was another big topic, because I myself am very excited for this one, because my mom and I had a conversation not too long ago, and we're wanting to know, well, who said put it all in a pot and call it a casserole? Why couldn't it be called a stew, or, all those different type of things, or things that I've learned over my years of cooking. A tomato pie would be the best example. I've seen a tomato casserole and I've seen a tomato pie. So what's going to be your difference is the things that we're trying to make sure that we understand. That is why this is called that, and that is how it gained its name. And when we're doing these cooking elements at home, a lot of things that we're utilizing, we don't realize, oh, well, this is what I've been doing all along, but more modern day is called this.
Gotcha.
Well, I understand, Tiffany, that you graduated from the Culinary Arts Institute at MUW, and we want to give a shout out to all those good folks of that great program.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to work with students while they're enrolled there, because you're very close to them geographically?
We do take on some students that will come over. Some have done interns before with this company. I first started out when I first started with this company at Harvey's, and I was privy to help with some of those interns there. So we do get quite a few interns turn into, the Marissas, where they're coming through as they're gaining, experience to go to other places and get to that ultimate goal that we're all kind of striving for.
Wow.
Well, Malcolm, I know you remember this. The Culinary Institute opened in about 1996 or 97. Clyda Rent, who was the president at that time, was the one who had this great vision for it. And it is a full Bachelor's of Science degree.
Yeah. And don't y'all have a new facility? There was one in the works. Have y'all cut the ribbon on the new facility?
That happened this year, actually.
Oh, great. Because I knew it was. Tell us about the new space.
Well, I myself have not had the opportunity to see it yet, but I've heard many, many great things from some students who are actually able to enjoy it. But they broke out and made the kitchen bigger. They're able to offer more emphasis on different styles of food now because there's more space to allot for it. They're also in the works of talking about maybe including a restaurant where the staff will be able to full on get knowledge of the kitchen world while they're in actual school, because it is kind of a big transition going from classroom to workforce. So there's a lot of different things that they're going to do their best to try to take advantage with this new space, to my knowledge.
That is so wonderful about the restaurant, because that was in the earliest vision and just couldn't be realized for a lot of reasons at that time. But something really interesting to me are actually the tracks that the students can take. I mean, it's not just coming out and being a chef. There's an entrepreneurship track. There is a food journalism, food photography, food styling, and nutrition. Yeah. So Tiffany, are you from the area?
No, I'm not originally from Columbus. I am originally from Hazelhurst, Mississippi, which is kind of right below where you guys are located today.
Oh, yeah.
I started at Hines with my education, and then I furthered to the W.
Cool.
And you went straight to the culinary program. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
And what was your area of emphasis?
I did entrepreneurship.
There you go.
She sounds like an entrepreneur, doesn't she, Mel?
She does. So, Jesse, as the general manager, do you often get graduates of the culinary program and students directly from the W?
From time to time, yes. A lot of the students, though, tend to graduate and kind of go back home.
Mm-hmm.
And I think their communities out a little bit.
What about just general staff? Are you able to get staff from the university?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of students, and it's not just the university, but one of the high schools. I'm not sure if it's Columbus High itself or
it's the Lowndes County.
Lowndes County. They also have kind of a culinary track that they do at a technical program. So we get a culmination of university students and post high school graduates who kind of went through a culinary phase and aren't sure if they want to go through the culinary program at the W or not.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Tiffany, this is a personal question, but did you ever take any classes from Vicki Leach while you were there?
No, I did not have the opportunity to take any under her. When I arrived, she had already left a year and a half prior to me, but I was very privileged to be able to be taught from her book that she wrote for us, and I still have to this day and still go back and forth for resources.
Excellent. She actually worked with me at the Viking Cooking School. She would come over and do classes. So we had a little W connection there.
Okay.
Well, Jesse, thank you all for joining us. We're gonna have to take a break, but before we go, tell us about your upcoming event on September 7th that you're having there, the History Brunch, the Southern History Brunch, and how people that might be tuned in can join you if they choose to do so.
Yeah, I'll say a beautiful Southern History Brunch by Chef Tiffany, September 7th. It's going to be at 11 o'clock. They're more than welcome to call us at the store, give us an email, and of course, check our social medias too, because we tend to post about it from time to time. Seats are limited. I think we have a few left. I just got a few messages from a few people that wanted to get some of the last spots we had. So tickets are flying fast.
So if you're interested, you better get on your horse. All right, thanks so much for joining us, Chef Tiffany Williams and General Manager Jesse Thomas from the Jackson Square Grill in Columbus, Mississippi. Got a great event coming up September 7th, and I'm sure just anytime you want to dip in to the grill, they'd love to see you. And we appreciate our friends and listeners in Columbus, Mississippi. We're going to take a short break now, and when we come back, we'll be joined by one of our great friends, Tim Pierce. He's got a report out from an event where was the event, Carol?
It was in Memphis,
Tennessee. Yes, of course it was. So anyway, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back with Tim Pierce. If you have any questions or comments, you can shoot us an email or you can call us at 1-877-672-7464 or the email to food@mpbonline.org. We'll be right back.
I'm Dr. Jimmy Stewart, host of the original Southern Remedy, the show where I answer your medical questions. Subscribe to the podcast by searching for Southern Remedy on any podcasting app.
I, 'm 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 I'm Peter O'Dowd. A climate crisis, politics, racism. It can feel like a lot. Podcaster Sarah Jones invites us to confront it together.
That myth that we have to hold it all together actually makes us fall apart worse. Our healing is dependent on truth-telling.
Next time on Here and Now.
Today at noon on MPB Think Radio. You're listening to Deep South Dining on MPB Think Radio. To call the show, dial 1-877-MPB-RING. That's 877-672-7464. Or email food@mpbonline.org. This is MPB Think Radio.
Welcome back to Deep South Dining on MPB Think Radio. Good morning. Malcolm White with Carol Palmer. Carol, how in the world are you? I hadn't seen you in, it's been almost a week.
I know, and there's Tim Pierce. I love it. Zoom. I love Zoom.
Good morning, Tim.
Good
Welcome
morning.
back to Deep South Dining on MPB Think Radio. Good morning. Malcolm White with Carol Palmer. I hear myself. I hadn't seen you in...
There are technical difficulties, Malcolm.
So, Tim, you had a big weekend, as you always do, at the supper club. But before we hit that, Carol and I were talking about this pimento cheese and biscuit that you had, I guess, last night that you posted on Cooking and Coping. What's up?
Well, our dear friends Delia and Robert called and said that Robert was speaking at church last night and invited us to join them and come over for a BLT afterwards. And then she called and said, would you bring your famous pimento cheese? So I made that, but surprise, surprise, Robert in his speaking at church spoke about our biscuit experience that we had in Alabama and compared that to the bread of life and the Last Supper. And so anyway, it was just a very meaningful reflection that he shared with the congregation. And then, surprise of all surprises, Delia had made the biscuits that we enjoyed in Alabama for the entire congregation. So everyone got to take home a biscuit or two last night. And when we got to their home, she had more biscuits for us, and we paired those with my pimento cheese, and it was quite delicious.
I would call that a perfect pairing.
It was.
And Tim is
Absolutely
referring to, it's called the Biscuit Experience, and Chef Scott Peacock does this in Marion, Alabama, in an antebellum home with a beautiful kitchen that's kind of been repurposed for this purpose. And Tim and Malcolm and Java and I and our good friend Thomas Williams, Tim's good friends and now ours, Delia and Robert, and others went there. About 10 of us. We went for a day of biscuit making. And when I saw the picture of those biscuits on Cooking and Coping, Tim, I had a feeling that Delia had made the biscuits.
Of course, yes. With the homemade baking powder that we learned to make. You know, it was the whole thing. Absolutely.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
It was.
Now, you had another experience this weekend with our great friend, Chef Enrika Williams. You went to a supper at the, is it Etowah?
Etowah Hunt Club.
Hunt Club, yeah. Tell us about that place. First of all, tell us about the venue.
Well, it's not a place. It is an experience as well. Josh Conley and Cole Janes here in Memphis had this vision, and now this was dinner number 8. It's always at a different location, which takes you out of, quite frankly, reality, because the first one they did was in a cornfield, and then the next one was actually next door to where we live in an art gallery, and that's how I met them. But they've been in garages. They've been in warehouses. They've been in all kinds of things. And oddly enough, this one Saturday night used to be a renowned gay bar. And after that, it turned into a strip club here in Memphis. And now it's basically just an empty building waiting on its next reinvention. So a lot of the diners remembered the space as something very, very different. And they turned it into just the most elegant dinner space you can imagine, and invited Enrika to come, and she absolutely showed out. I mean,
how many people were there, Tim?
100 people. It's 2 long tables, white tablecloths, gorgeous linens, and they centerpieces and white napkins, and it's just done to a level that you wouldn't believe. They call it lo-fi dining because you reuse your silverware, you reuse your wine glass. So there is a little bit of organicness to it, but the food is as high end as you could possibly imagine.
I loved that you used the phrase on Facebook yesterday that Enrika showed out. Because that's what my mama would say.
I was so happy in between times. We got there early so that it's first come, first serve. So I basically ran in to get the seats closest to where they were preparing the food so that I could watch and view. And luckily enough, there were some downtimes in between courses. So I got to go visit and talk to her. And while I was sitting with her, a woman came up and said, "I've been to all 8 dinners, and this is the best one by far."
Wow.
And I was just honored to get to hear her say that to Enrika because it was such a special dinner. And I just want everybody to know how incredibly talented Enrika is.
Can you take us through the courses?
Well, that's the special part about it. Enrika calls herself a creative. Mm-hmm. She is a chef. She did go to culinary school, but she calls herself a creative simply by the way she comes about her menus. So I will tell you, in layman's term, what we had was French onion soup, shrimp cocktail, tossed salad with ranch dressing, roast beef, and pound cake. That's what we had before Enrika got a hold of it. But
it sounds pretty straightforward.
Well, let me tell you, the French onion soup was made with lamb neck bones. And instead of having a baguette with cheese on top, we had goat cheese cornbread with 3 different kinds of cheeses. Mm-hmm. Then we had a shrimp cocktail, but instead of a whole shrimp, she basically pulverized shrimp and stacked them and pressed them and made shrimp sauce.
Saw that. I'd never seen that before.
Hoghead cheese. She made shrimp sauce and paired that with popcorn, as in popcorn shrimp. And then she took the shells of the shrimp and deep fried them, crushed them, and mixed that in with the popcorn. I mean, we were all absolutely agog.
Wow. That sounds terrific.
And then the salad, it was a baby Jim salad. It was relatively basic, other than she did some twist on ranch dressing that made everybody go, "This is not ranch dressing like I've ever had before." And then Carol, if you recall at her house, she does this crispy, crumbly thing on her salads that just makes you crazy. The textures were unbelievable. She had done something with pepperoni. And when she told the story about the salad, everybody laughed, I mean, uncontrollably, because she said, "This is what I remember from the salad bar at Shoney's." And we were like, wait. We're sitting in this environment and you're going to talk about Shoney's, really? But sure enough, it had all of those she called her dinner comfort and joy. And the whole thing was just so comfortable and made you feel so good and so joyful. So then we went on to the roast beef, which, yes, it was beef, but it was beef cheeks. Mm-hmm. And she had cooked them so slowly that it was, I told Brant last night, it was flaky like you think about fish being flaky.
Wow.
And
that's interesting.
I asked her, I said, okay, that the demi that you had around that had to start as 5 gallons. It had to be a vat, and you cooked it down to 5 cups. And she said, yes, 2 days. She cooked it for 2 days until we got this most unctuous broth around celeriac and potatoes mashed together. And then who roasts celery?
Enrika Williams.
Thank you. Hello. We were all talking about celery and how delicious it was. I've never even thought about Yes, I put celery in the roast beef with the potatoes and carrots, but no, she roasted. And it had the most incredible flavor and tooth along with the creamy potatoes and the beef. And then to top it all off, we had her mother's 7-Up pound cake. She didn't make it. Her mother made pound cake for 100 people. I mean, it just could not have been more perfect and just homey and full of love. And she is just incredibly talented.
Well, Tim, I saw it either on your page or maybe Enrika's yesterday that the beef cheeks were actually from Home Place Pastures in Como. And Marshall, those folks were on the show recently, but
brought us food, and we cooked. Kara mostly cooked a roast beef day before yesterday with the Home Pastures meat that they brought us. It was terrific.
But what a wonderful resource to have! I guess and that's not far from Memphis, Como,
not at all.
Mississippi.
Home Place is a big supporter of Etowah, and the other dinner that we had been to, they were here as well. So they absolutely are partners in the Hunt Club for sure.
All right, Tim Pierce, man, thank you so much for joining us and bringing us up to speed. It's always great to see you, to hear from you, and thank you so much for all you share and do.
And we feel like that we're with you every week because we dine with you every night with you and Brant and see the wonderful foods that you're cooking. And I just invite you to bring the signature pimento cheese.
Bring it.
Next time you're in the studio.
Happy to do it. It's good to see
you all. Thanks, buddy. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Boonville native Tim Pierce, now living in Memphis. Carol, next week is Labor Day, so we will not be live. We will be alive, but not live on the radio. So
correct.
So our listeners will hear some sort of, I don't know if it's a former program or special programming around Labor Day. Marissa, what will it be?
I do believe it's going to be some special Labor Day programming, just a nice excuse for everyone to take a day off. And
so we will not be live next Monday.
But we will be eating and drinking.
Of course we will.
Yes.
Okay, and the following Monday, September 9th, we will air an interview with cookbook author and food journalist Ann Byrne. So you don't want to miss that interview.
Malcolm, that was one of the most fun interviews that we have done in a long time. She is just a treasure.
She really is.
She wrote for years for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and I have the greatest respect for her.
She's working and living in Nashville and has a new book out, which she will be bringing to town and will be in Mississippi on September the 11th at Off Square Books in Oxford. She will be here on September the 12th, and I will be with her at the Eudora Welty House September 12th. And then again, she will come back for the Mississippi Book Festival on September 14th, and she will be she's on a panel. She'll be promoting her new book, Baking in the American South, which is a treasure.
440 pages of goodness.
I believe Chef Enrika Williams is going to be the moderator for her panel at the Mississippi Book Festival.
Again, there you go. So September 11th, Oxford Off Square. September 12th here in Jackson, Eudora Welty House. September 14th at the Mississippi Book Festival. And again, we will have her interview in its entire length on Monday, September the 9th. All right. Well, Carol, once again, it's been a delightful Monday.
It's so good to see you, Mal.
Good to see you, and thanks for the okra.
Well, and thanks for the blueberry cake, cold oven cake.
And thanks to Tim Pierce, and certainly thanks to our Columbus guest, executive chef Tiffany Williams, and General Manager Jesse Thomas of the Jackson Square Grill in Columbus. And tell us what you remember from your time there, Marissa, as back of house. What were you like a prep cook? What was your gig?
I was primarily a prep cook. I came in the first week. I think I did fry salad for the most part, but then I started doing prep, and I really enjoyed it. I like being able to kind of make my own plan and get everything done, and when I'm done, I can go.
You can leave before the craziness begins.
Exactly.
So you were never a line cook?
Not really, no. I could come up there and help when things got a little crazy, but I prefer to be in the back and just let them yell at me for rolls and things like that. Yeah.
What about desserts? Did you work desserts?
I did. I made quite a lot of cobblers.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the other desserts we didn't have to make. You made them on the line, But the cobblers. I made some pretty cobblers.
So tell our listeners. We just got a minute or so here. Mm-hmm. Tell our listeners in your own words what this restaurant that you worked at is like. Tell us about the Jackson Square Grill. Must have some sort of a New Orleans feel to it.
Yeah, it's. I think a lot of the some of the main dishes are like chicken and shrimp pontchartrain. There's the Nola pasta that's got andouille and all kinds of things like that in it. But yeah, it's just kind of like a casual, somewhere in between that casual fine dining, just a good place to come hang out with your friends, have a drink or something. And honestly, I think the world of them as employers, which to me is a big deal. I worked there for a year and they were nothing but good to me. So
that's a lovely thing to say about somebody.
Absolutely.
And I did want to say, in my reading, I read that she loves cooking the pasta, the Nola pasta, because she can build these real powerhouse flavors in it. But her favorite dish, which would be mine, is the white barbecue chicken nachos.
The Alabama white barbecue
and
chicken
she says they're
nachos.
The best nachos in the Golden Triangle. Malcolm?
There you go.
Road trip.
No doubt about it. Well, there you go. Deep South Dining is a production of Mississippi Public Broadcasting's Think Radio. We are funded by generous contributions from listeners like yourself, and we sure do thank you. Our show is produced by Marissa Vaughn, and today for our special guest, Chef Tiffany Williams, Tim Pierce, and for, of course, my co-host, Carol Palmer. I'm Malcolm White, and we ask that you now stay tuned for Marshall Ramsey's program, Now You're Talking, followed by Southern Remedy at 11, and we ask that you join us every Monday and every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. for more Deep South Dining, heard only on MPB Think Radio. Goodbye now. See you next week.